Hello everybody, welcome back. Real quick video this one, just on Ethereum, something I've just spotted. So basically, we're looking at Ethereum here on the weekly with its Bitcoin pairing, alright? So it doesn't mean that it can't lose any more value against dollar or Tether. But what it's suggesting is that there could be an entry point here for its Bitcoin pairing. All right, so this is, like I say, a weekly chart, and it's just a simple trend line to start with. So let's just have a look at how this trend line's played out in the past. So we started off here. It was basically just over a year ago, really, where it more or less had bottomed out to completely sort of hit the ground. I mean, it's like most altcoin charts, really. Looks pretty abysmal, really, when you zoom out. But for the last year, there has been a steadier way uptrend on this one. All right, so we had our first bounce here, came down roughly to test that trend line again, and testing it again. Nice big rally there, testing it again. Had a bit of a moment here where we sort of dumped down into beneath it for 2 weeks in a row, a double bottom, I suppose you could say, with these 2 wicks. And then bounced up again. And then today, literally this week, this is a weekly chart, all right? Came down to test that trend line. So again, this is Bitcoin pairing. Doesn't mean that both Bitcoin and Ethereum can't lose any more value against the dollar. Definitely it could. But if there were to be an entry point for a potential hedge against Bitcoin using Ethereum, this could actually be it. Another thing that we look at, I actually mean just me, is the Ichimoku cloud, right? So one thing that we want to sort of, I suppose, focus on is what are we above the cloud? If we're above the cloud, where is the Chiku span, which is in the depths of the price action, which is not really where it's supposed to be. If you're looking for some form of a decent confirmation of using this Ichimoku cloud, perfectly. But it looks as though, despite coming down below the conversion and the baseline, and below sort of major moving averages as well, we actually have had a tick. I call it a tick as a cross, really, with the conversion of the baseline on the weekly. Right, so this is extremely lagging indicator, obviously, and it's not perfect. We've got 2 levels of confirmation out of 3, so it's not perfect. But it is a cross all the same. Began last week, and it's we'll have to see how the week ends. Obviously, this could just easily come right back down again. But if it doesn't, I mean, that is a cross. So it is above the cloud. The cloud is green, and it will give it that kind of give it that 2 levels of confirmation out of 3, using the Ichimoku cloud on the weekly, which is always one of my preferred indicators. So again, without looking at further pullbacks, and we could easily get those, and we probably will. But when we're looking at this chart alone, it's an interesting one to think about, because, like I say, we do have a trend line here that's been respected for over a year. We do have 2 out of 3 levels of confirmation using the Ichimoku cloud. So it's not all that bad. We are turning down on the MACD, which isn't good, and the money flow index is neither here nor there. The RSI is relatively low, so it's not really anything to really go by. It's not turning up; it's still facing down. If we go to the daily, let's have a look at what we see on the daily there. So for some reason, I've got 2 of these trend lines. On the daily, we see, obviously, there's that trend line coming in there. We see the initial sort of pullback here on the daily, and as far as stats are concerned, it's fared better overall than Bitcoin recently. I mean, they've both come down in value, but we're still in this uptrend still. Whereas obviously, Bitcoin is going to be better in the short term, but in the long term, this would suggest that there is some kind of formation here that's worth playing. Now, Ichimoku cloud on this one is telling us to get out at this point here. It's not looking particularly interesting at all at the moment. Again, we're looking to find telltale signs that there could be a reversal in trend before we get too excited. Remember, we're looking at this on a weekly chart here. Weekly chart is extremely lagging indicator, so we don't really trade anything as in like, there's a perfect entry point when we're looking at it on a weekly. But what we do see is that there is a formation here that can't really be ignored. It is pretty clear and pretty basic as well. On the daily chart, we do see a different story. We see a possibility of further pullbacks. We have broken down below this trend line before in the past, so there's no reason to suggest we can't break down below it again. And if we do break down below it, do we stay below it? Or does it turn to resistance? We just don't know. So it's something that I'm going to keep an eye on here, because if there is an opportunity for Ethereum versus Bitcoin, not versus Tether, that might be the opportunity right there. like I say, if we are looking at further pullbacks, they're both going to pull back, obviously, and we'll have to see how this trend line holds up from there. And the Ichimoku clouds, that's going to change in the next few hours, obviously, with the weekly close. That could just cross negative, so we'll have to see how that one works out. Anyway, I thought I'd just bring that to your attention. I'm not particularly excited about Ethereum at all, but when we're looking at the daily here, it's not really oversold to the max. But we are seeing, I suppose, telltale signs that maybe we could be bottoming out against its sats, which for a lot of people might be exciting because stacking sats is for many the name of the game. Money flow index here is also looking pretty low, and if it were to break down into the oversold area of the money flow index, that would definitely be an opportunity there, I'd say, for a buy. So we are getting close to what could be considered to be a buy zone for Ethereum. I'm not saying this is the buy zone, and I'm not a financial advisor, so I wouldn't advise any of you to buy anything. But for me personally, I'm going to keep my eye on this one and see how this trend line reacts over the next week, I'd say, over the next week. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.